Well, hello everyone. This is the first part of my video about following Pilot Yellow. I've been a fan of Pilot Yellow's YouTube channel for a long while, and it's given me a certain, I'm going to say, mission to try and emulate what Pilot Yellow is doing with his YouTube channel. He certainly has the luxury of some of the best scenery I've ever seen on Earth, even compared to the Grand Canyon. And so I wrote to Pilot Yellow and he gave me permission to try and emulate some of the flight missions that he does on his YouTube channel. So you'll see from the map that I've included here from Google, I'm going to try and make it to the top of that great mountain there. And it won't be an easy task because a Cabri helicopter, it doesn't have endless power. You have to play around with it a great deal. So I'm going to start the video with a bit of a spoiler here showing the end when I did actually get to the top of the mountain. And sometimes things aren't flat, especially when they're white, and in real life there must be always a backup or a way of getting out of a situation. And following Pilot Yellow's video YouTubes, one of the big things that comes out of it is that I suppose I was a managing director of a company and health and safety was a horrendous job. But with helicopter safety, there has to be a backup plan. And one of the things that comes out from the Pilot Yellow videos is that certainly with a small helicopter with limited power, you have to be looking for a way out of a situation all the time. So I decided to go for the top of the mountain. I'll give a brief description of some of the areas we're at. But at the end of the day, the route I chose was to go low down through a canyon at quite a steep angle. And of course, helicopters don't have endless power when they're small. And so one of the things you'll notice is that eventually you run out of collective or you run out of power, you can't go any higher. And you need that emergency exit. You need to be able to turn around, back out, fly out from a situation, pick up some speed, and then gain some lift. And that's exactly what happens on this one. So I'll give you some more commentary later on about the scenery and everything else, but a bit of a spoiler there at the beginning showing what happened to me at the end. But disregarding what mesh you use, sometimes the tops of mountains are not flat, and this shows it off very well. So I've just paused this on the Cabri because it has a lovely touch that you can pull back and take the doors off and you'll hear the sound change. And certainly in virtual reality, the view with the doors off, and although I'm flying this on a flat screen, the usual way I fly it around is with the doors off just for the better view. And so here we are approaching Lake Wiseman. I looked it up on Google Maps. You can see that the scenery is spectacular again from a certain height. There's a small lake next to it, but I couldn't actually find out the name of that one. Here we are just approaching it now. And again, at this height it doesn't look too bad at all. But once you do get lower, the pixelization comes in, doesn't look quite so good. So I'm looking around for a landing spot here, and I'll turn around and follow the ridge back. And eventually, just up the top of Lake Wiseman, there does seem to be a bit of a flat area just where that snow peak is. So I'll just do a very slow approach in here and see if we can get it to land on the top. And again, it does depend on the mesh as to what's going to happen being explained with the helicopter. If it's flat at the top, it's going to stay there. If not, it's going to drift off. So a nice slow approach here. Hopefully we'll get the landing correct. Maybe a little bit too fast and it's going to slide a bit, but let's head for that patch of snow that looks a bit flatter than usual. And there we go. Yeah, a bit of a slide on. But as you can see, from the cockpit view, once you've landed, it doesn't look as good. Here's an outside view of it taking off from that position. And as we spin round, that's where we're going to be heading very soon. And the scenery again is spectacular. It's one of the most beautiful places on earth, I think. And so as we spin round here, that's Mount Baker in the distance where we're going to be heading. And I've decided to take the long slow approach following that river fork you can see in front of us, and it has the great title of Middle Fork Nooksack River. Well, that's what Google tells me anyway. Now, one of the disadvantages of any slow climb like this is that eventually you do start running out of power, and you're going to be seeing here that I'm trying to maintain forward speed and a certain amount of collective on all the time, but as the angle of the mountain is changing, I'm losing the forward speed and the engine doesn't have the capability of going up now, or the collective doesn't have the ability to give us climb. Now that could be a problem with the Cabri model for X-Plane at the moment, but you know, I'm flying it as it is, and eventually, as you see here, I'm losing all forward momentum and really I'm not getting anywhere. There's no way I'm going to reach the summit the way it's going at the moment. So the only option really is then to spin round, do the emergency exit and head back the way we came. By heading back down the hill we can pick some speed up, get some lift, and then actually then fly around the mountain rather than come up this peak. And you go round the side, and I think it's called the North Cascade, and it really is the only way of getting the height to get there. So here's a nice outside view. I've gone round, pulled out of that gully, and I'm just flying more forward speed, giving more lift, and eventually obviously I start to gain enough height to get to the summit. And so from an outside view here, everything's starting to look pretty good. The rate of climb has increased and it looks like we're going to reach the top fairly easily. The view as you go round is spectacular, as you would imagine. What I've got to start looking for is a flat area to land on, and obviously with everything being so white, the peak there looks like it's going to be the only place. And obviously, as I gave away at the beginning of the video, it's not quite as flat as I expected. So we're just coming in here, go on the inside view here to show you again, just coming round. It's interesting, if you look on the white areas, every now and again you'll see the word Google. Obviously they're putting water margins on different areas. So at first glance it looks like it's going to be flat enough to land on, and so that's what I go for. Reducing down, take it easy or as steady as you can, moving it forward slightly. But what it hasn't given away is the fact that it is, in the modelling of this mountain, actually a very steep peak, and so we do our death ride down the mountainside, gradually pull back on the stick, get the collective back and fly out. As to if that would ever happen in real life, I'm not sure, but it's been a good example, and I've enjoyed making the video of my first run at this area. And so as we come to the end of the video, I'm going to show you a few more outside shots, just showing how beautiful the area is. And I'm going to tag on the end of this some VR shots, because I normally do fly in VR, and certainly if you have an Oculus or any of the VR headsets, download this area and have a fly around, because it is absolutely spectacular. I'm going to jump into the VR mode now, and might be a bit jerky because of my head movements, and I prefer doing the VR video in the vertical strip so that you get the full depth of the image. And we'll take a bit of a run down this mountain and then head off to where we started from, up by those lakes, and do a landing. But I'm going to leave it here and say thank you for watching, and thank you to Pilot Yellow for giving me permission to use his logo and the website banner, and I'll put the links in the description below. And I just leave you to enjoy either this VR mode for those of you that do like VR, and hope that you'll come back and watch the second episode, which will be about a week's time. Thanks for watching. Have a good week.